So in this particular instance, I have a person who ordered 7 skeins of a particular colorway. It takes 6 skeins for that colorway, so that means I'm going to need to dye 12 skeins of this colorway, give them their 7, and then the 4 extra will go into the shop for overflow. Hello, hello, hello. We meet again in the kitchen. It is morning time. Today is the 25th of March, and we are kind of laying out what we're gonna do today. I have some things I need to do work-wise, and I have a bunch of sweater quantities I need to prep for. I don't have a shop update for another little less than 2 weeks, so most of my efforts out in the dye studio are going to be prepping out sweater quantity orders, dyeing them, getting them shipped out. I want to come up with a few new colorways. I have a collaboration I'm doing with someone, so I'll be developing some colorways for that person. I'm thinking that's going to probably take place this weekend. I'm really excited about that, by the way, and I'll share more about that as it unfolds, but right now it's just kind of keeping it on the down low. But yeah, so I'm gonna get out there, I'm gonna sort out the yarn I need for that. And then after I do that, I'll get it all hung up and ready to go for dyeing tomorrow. I have Lucky Strikes I need to get going. Those are out there on the burners right now, so I'll probably pull the yarn for the Lucky Strikes, get those going today. And then that way I can get the Lucky Strikes off of the burners so I can start sweater quantities tomorrow. Another thing that I really want to do today, yesterday I went out to my herb garden, which if you've been watching the series, you know that the herb garden is pretty bushy, and I don't want to say overgrown. I think it looks luscious and beautiful, but I went out there and pruned a bunch of herbs away because I would like to dry them. So I can't possibly use them fresh before they start. They would just shrivel and die before I could use them. And so I don't want to, I hate pruning it and then throwing away the clippings. So I have a couple of things that I like to do with my herbs, and one of the things I'm going to try today that I've never done is drying them. I will show you something else that I have done in the past. So if you do have an herb garden at home and you have a lot of herbs growing, but you need to figure out a way to preserve them so you can use them later, I have a solution for that. But today I'm going to try something different with my herbs. I'm going to try drying them. So let me show you what I have so far. Okay, so these are the herbs that I harvested yesterday. This is a big cookie sheet full of herbs, and I still have a ton out there. Like, I just have so much going out there. Plus, this isn't even including the parsley that I have growing in my front yard. But we have the sage here, we have the dill, the French tarragon, the thyme/oregano, because I'm not 100% sure which is which, cilantro. Yeah, so all of this, I'm gonna separate it out, and I'm gonna dry it. And I'm actually using, I printed this out. I printed this out because I was planning on passing it along to my mom. I could just otherwise pull it up on my tablet, but it is from, what is this? HGTV. So this is an HGTV recipe set of directions for how to dry your herbs. So they have an option for oven drying and air drying, and then of course you could do it in a dehydrator, but I don't have that. So I will probably be doing a combination of both, because they say that the lower moisture herbs, like your rosemary, which isn't here, I don't have rosemary here, but your dill, that these can be dried, that they're best air dried, just because they are already low in moisture to begin with. And so you do that by just bundling them together and then hanging them upside down like you've seen before. They say to do it in a brown paper bag or a paper bag, but I don't have any paper bags, I don't think. So I'm probably just gonna end up doing it in the open air, and because I've seen that done as well before. So it's gonna look like an apothecary in my kitchen. We'll see how well it works. But I'm gonna do that with the dill, and I think that, what does it say? Which ones do they recommend doing air drying for? Basil, chives, oh wait, marjoram, oregano, rosemary, and dill. Are recommended for air drying, and then the other ones are recommended for the oven. So I don't have any marjoram, so I know oregano is one of those. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna have to go online and like get some pictures of thyme and oregano and figure this out once and for all. But yeah, so that is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna air dry and oven dry my herbs today. put them in some jars to save for later. Hopefully it goes well, because I need to come up with some solid methods for preserving these herbs. And the other method that I use is great, which I will, again, I'll show you that in a little bit. But this method I think will be easier because it's more grab and go when you're cooking and you want to use dry herbs and in various, like if you want to make rubs or in roasts or whatever. So yeah, I'm excited. So I'm going to be doing that today too. I'll probably go out and walk the garden again today and check on some things. I've been taking daily pictures of my lemon tree, and that might be overkill, but I'm so excited to see how well it does in its new placement. So I have been taking daily pictures of that, so I'm going to go out and take the picture today. Let's see, what else am I planning on doing? So far, that seems to be all I have in mind for today. And then of course, getting some knitting in. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where the day takes us. So sometimes you have to clean up messes on your own when you're transitioning from one thing to the next, and you don't want to go through the whole process of having the boys clean up this before they work in their preschool books, or in Ronan's case, just coloring. So sometimes you have to bite the bullet and clean up the messes yourself, and that's okay in the given situation. So I gotta clean up these Legos, otherwise somebody is gonna lose a toe because they're so stinking painful to step on. So let's clean up this mess. So I made that. Look at this beautiful feat of engineering. I don't even know what this middle front end piece is, but it's pretty fabulous.
Because it's not flat. Can we pull this page out?
What you working on, Ronan?
I can pull this page out, or I can hold it like that for you. Rick, what's this one?
Are you coloring with your buttery toast hands?
Wow!
Okay, what's next? Yep, you gotta draw a rectangle. Keep on. Good job.
That's a square.
That's good. It's great.
Dip.
How do you apply it though?
Alright, so I'm gonna peel this back. I pull off this part, and I think this top piece is like a piece of paper, a thin paper that's on top that kind of protects the vinyl, so while you're applying it doesn't scratch it. Pull this, I tape those down, I pull this back, and I peel this off, and then I put this piece on, or I cut this piece of paper off, and I peel it like this.
What happened, Ronan? You gotta move? All better. So we're putting a vinyl sticker on my husband's cornhole project here. It's, a Vegas Golden Knights logo sticker. So once you get done and you peel this off, it'll be over the top of the wood, and then you cut the hole out, and then you have a kind of like a decorated Golden Knights cornhole set. So we're trying to figure out how best to get that to go down on the wood without, any like air bubbles. I think it's a team effort. You can't do something like this without it becoming an absolute family affair. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm working on right now is sorting out all of my sweater quantity orders. So that is, there's a level of complication to that, not unnecessary complication, it's just normal. Because you have to look at a person's sweater quantity order. Now, when you place a sweater quantity order on the shop site, you have a minimum of 3 skeins per base, or per colorway. And so, because each of my colorways require a certain number of skeins to create the colorway, because each batch, or each lot has a certain number of skeins, and so I require a 3 skein minimum, so that way the person is ordering the majority of the batch and it all stays kind of within one lot, what have you. So what I have to do is, if I have a person who orders 7 skeins of something, and let's say it takes 5 skeins to make that particular colorway, then that means I have to prepare to make 10 skeins of that colorway so that they can have all of their yarn from the same batch, or 2 batches or 2 lots, and then I'm left with the overflow from that, which then gets put in the shop and listed as overflow. That's where sweater quantity overflows come from. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I have to go through each of the invoices, see how many they ordered, double check the colorway to remember how many skeins I put in the pan for that colorway, figure out how many skeins I'm gonna need to complete the order, and then, you know, at that point, put my overflow skeins into my own back stock for shop yarn. So I keep all of my yarn that is meant for sweater quantities and clubs in a separate location, and then I have all of the yarn that I dye for the shop in a separate location. So what I do is I take the overflow that is not going to be utilized for sweater quantities after I, you know, organize all my sweater quantities, and I pop them into the shop yarn, and then I'm left with only what I need for sweater quantities to complete that person's batch. Not necessarily to fulfill their order. So like I said, if a person orders 6 skeins of yarn, that doesn't mean you only need 6 skeins of that particular base. It means you need to have enough to complete their order, and also enough to fill your lot. So in this particular instance, I have a person who ordered 7 skeins of a particular colorway. It takes 6 skeins for that colorway, so that means I'm going to need to dye 12 skeins of this colorway, give them their 7, and then the 4 extra will go into the shop for overflow. So that's what I'm working on right now. Okay, so today's sweater quantity orders are sorted behind me. It's getting really windy outside. When it's this windy outside, I don't dye any yarn in the garage because that wind blows into the garage and it kind of makes for a messy situation. I wasn't planning on dyeing any yarn anyway, but I don't think I'm going to start the Lucky Strikes until later this afternoon. So I think what I'm going to do right now is sort out the yarn that I'm going to use for the Lucky Strikes, and I pull Lucky Strike yarn as well from the extra skeins that I don't use to make the sweater quantities. Just so that way I can use all of those for the Lucky Strikes. It gives me a variety of bases for those. So I'm going to sort that out now, and then I'm going to get inside.